let's get straight into it. First things first, Penn State. There's no other way to say this. They got beat by a 0-4 team who has no defensive coordinator, no offensive coordinator, and no head coach. So there's a ton of talk about this game. You can talk about the statistics. You can talk about how the game went. I don't care about any of that at this moment in time because it's nothing new for Penn State. There's always a program that draws unreasonable rage out of me, and I don't know if it's towards the fans. I don't know if it's towards the team or the head coach or what it is. That used to be Michigan State. I used to think Michigan State was such an underperforming team that had so much confidence going into football seasons and produced nothing. We're never in the talk for national championship hopes as of recently. I always thought they underperformed. Irrelevant halfway, not even halfway through the season most of the times. But that's slowly started to shift. Penn State is just to say they're a disappointment is an understatement. Here's the thing. I want to preface this by saying I thought Penn State being number 2 preseason was insanity right off the jump. Um, I've done a ton of shorts on it. That they're as far as teams that I will love to. I don't love to rag on them, but they're one of those teams that has consistently underperformed, whether it's in the postseason now or whether it's in the regular season, big games, no matter what it is, Penn State is that team that you can always trust to disappoint you. And again, I don't know if I'm angry at um, the whether it's James Franklin or Drew Aller or the fans. I don't know who it is that I'm angry at. I don't even know if I'm angry at them, but I feel like the fans specifically should they deserve better, to be fair. Penn State's a historic program. They got some great traditions. Whiteout game was awesome. I want to go to one. But they need to get more out of this football program. At the end of the day, the fans are what programs are built around and built for. And this fan base, I would say, deserves better, but they also have to, I would say, be better in the way of you have to demand more out of your football team. I know that James Franklin has been there for a long time, uh, but he hasn't got it done. And I'll start with this. I don't think Drew Aller is the guy to take them to a national championship. I said it last year. He's a fine quarterback. Is he a national championship quarterback? No. And that's not just for the UCLA game. That's for all the games that have built up into this. He's not the guy for me personally. Here's the biggest problem that Penn State has, and some would say it's a problem, some would say it's a benefit, but Drew or James Franklin is so dug into that program right now. For one, he's not going to get fired because of this. That's not what I'm saying right now. He has held the keys to the kingdom for years now. Had free reign. It's been since I want to say 2016, somewhere around there. Someone correct me on that. But for a decade, he has been at Penn State. He has been given the keys to this historic football program and has done nothing with it. It's a travesty that they are so underwhelming. And it's not just this year, it's not last year, it's every year. The big thing that's always thrown around 4-21. That's not a play that Bama ran against Auburn. That is James Franklin's record against AP poll top 10. I'll give you another one. 1-21. That's his record outside of 2016. He had 3 top 10 wins inside of 2016. Since then, 1-21 against AP top 10 teams. The one win came against Boise State last year in the playoffs. That is not good enough. That is not good enough to run Penn State. And again, I'm not a Penn State fan. I love college football as a whole. I love the pageantry of it. I love the tradition. And the tradition around Penn State is insane. The atmosphere when you go to games there is insane. But that's not good enough. It's as simple as that. And we can talk about stats and we can talk about that all day. We can talk about games have been won and lost by however many scores. It doesn't matter. We can talk about that all day. I don't think Penn State is going to fire James Franklin, but the thing is, he's going to have to do better. And he has to look at it. I think this is one of the things that gets a little bit overlooked. Clearly, these coaches are fans of these teams. You're not at Penn State for a decade if you don't love the history and the tradition of Penn State. I'm not questioning that about James Franklin, but he has to take a big step back and look and say, "Am I the right guy for the job?" There's uh, I don't listen to much sports media. I try and keep my own opinions. I try not to get swayed by anybody. Anytime I do these uh, previews or reviews, I don't ever watch anything before, just so I can get my own clear-headed view on things. But one guy I love to listen to is Josh Pate. Um, been listening to him for years before he was, where he is now, which is great. I love that he is that guy now. He always loves the phrase "haven't" and "can't." And there's two big differences. Ryan Day was a guy who hadn't won the big one, but people always said he couldn't. Okay, well, clearly now he's won a national championship. So he was the guy a couple of years ago who hasn't, who people said can't. Now he is the guy who did. James Franklin is always in that talk of, is he a guy that hasn't done it yet, or is he the guy that can't do it? And year after year, big game after big game, it's always, well, he hasn't done it yet. I'm starting to question if he can. At this point, I'm convinced. I don't know if it's in his own head. I don't know if it's just a mojo around the team. I don't know what it is, but I'm starting to believe that James Franklin can't win not just the big one, not the national championship game, a big game, an AP poll top 10 game. I don't know if he can. And they have plenty more opportunities this season to do. They play Indiana in a couple of weeks. They play Ohio State later this year. They're 0-2 in Big Ten play. Out of two games, they're 0-2. So they have a lot of soul searching to do. James Franklin has a lot of soul searching to do. If he doesn't change what's going on in that program, either he needs to be the man and say, you know what, I'm not the guy for this job. I need to leave, or he might. And again, I don't like calling for people's jobs. I don't think he will be fired over this result. But at the end of the season, you might look at him and say, you know what, we're Penn State. We have a lot of draw. People would love to come coach here. We need to move on. We need to find the next guy. And you've given the guy all the time in the world. You have a fantastic football program. You have a program that coaches would love to come and be a part of. So this is that first crack, I think, in the armor of James Franklin, where you go and you lose to Oregon last week in double overtime. Oregon's a good football team, and you say, okay, we lost to a good football team. We gave them a fight, but now it's to a point where they said they didn't take the Oregon loss well. Okay, well, you showed that. How are you going to take this UCLA loss? You've got two other losses likely on that schedule. You went from a preseason favorite to win a national champ, one of the preseason favorites to win a national championship. Well, you're staring down the barrel now of not making the playoffs, and I don't think you should. They get dropped out of the AP poll. They play Ohio State. They play Indiana. I don't see him making the playoffs, and that's when the discussion really comes into saying, is he the right guy to lead this football program?